Still, Alan Kulwicki will stay with him. It's a dead heat off the corner.
The strong suit for Darrell Waltrip is the handling capabilities of his car. It's been able to stick at the bottom of the racetrack, and that's where he's made most of his move, is diving into the corner and hanging right at the bottom of the speedway. He talks about handling here at Daytona.
Oh, yeah, particularly, again, with the heat the way it is, the radial tires, track's going to get hot, it's going to get slick. You don't see the same race here that you see at Talladega. Talladega is a totally different animal. The track there is tight, and handling is not really a big factor. Here, handling is everything.
It's working for Darrell Waltrip right now, but boy, has he got his hands full in turn 3.
Oh, trouble. He hits with Kulwicki. Waltrip and Joe Rudman sliding off into the infield grass. Waltrip is upside down. The car flips 5, 6, 7 times. The roof comes off the car. The tires shedding everywhere. A vicious crash for Darrell Waltrip.
Caution is on the speedway as the field will race back to the start-finish line. Waltrip's car went into the inside sand berm that separates Lake Lloyd from the speedway. We saw a big plume of sand come up, and then the car went end over end. Let's go back to turn 3.
Darrell's car came across the infield, Barney, and got sideways, and what got it up into the air is he actually hit the separation between the chicane area of the road course, the little left-right dip, and the grass. And when he caught the edge between the grass and the pavement, the car was straight sideways. That just popped it right up into the air, and it tumbled over 6, 7 times, digging into the grass very hard. It shed all of the sheet metal off the car, a couple of the wheels. The safety workers are already at his car looking in to try and attend to Darrell Waltrip. A very hard crash.
One of the most vicious crashes we have seen at Daytona in a long, long time. The safety crews, as Alan Bestwick said, are at the scene on the Darrell Waltrip car, and as soon as we have any information at all, we'll pass it along to you. It looked like he and Alan Kulwicki got together just a little bit in the back straightaway. Then he went across the grass, made contact with Joe Ruttman's car, and as they came across that little strip of asphalt that is a chicane they use sometime in other forms of racing here, the car began to roll down through the grass in the back straightaway and went over at least 5, maybe 6 times, and came to stop on the apron of the racetrack down to the entrance of turn 1. For a quick update, let's again go back to turn 3.
Car right now surrounded by safety workers. The car has come to rest laying on the driver's side door, or where the sheet metal was, now resting on the cage. Michael Waltrip has stopped his race car in turn number 3 right now, motioning to the safety workers, trying to get some information on his brother. But a good 15 safety workers all around this car, and as I said, the car is resting on the driver's side now, standing up into the air, and they're attending to Darrell Waltrip now.
Joe Ruttman's car was actually behind Darrell. After Darrell Waltrip made contact with Alan Kulwicki, the car cut across the grass into the path of Joe Ruttman, and Ruttman's car was there, not so much pushing Darrell Waltrip along, but was there in the identical path as Waltrip's car began flipping. Once it gets off the racetrack onto the grass, you lose the aerodynamic handling of the car. The grass, obviously, it's a dirt base. You start bouncing and so on, and the aerodynamics that you have on the car will pretty much go out the window. Many of the teams here have elected to make a pit stop on lap number 121. Harry Gant is in, Ricky Rudd and Michael Waltrip, Dale Earnhardt and Chad Little, also Dale Jarrett in for service. Of course, fuel should not have been a problem anyway for the teams. They could have gone green from their last pit stop all the way to the conclusion if necessary. The safety crews still very much on the scene, working with the race car, trying to help Darrell Waltrip from the mangled Western Auto Chevrolet.
We'll take a break, and we'll be back to Daytona in a minute.
We are back at Daytona International Speedway. The Pepsi 400 is still under caution. We are getting word now from NASCAR's Vice President of Competition, Les Richter, that Darrell Waltrip is okay. He is giving the high sign out here in the tower, and that obviously having been relayed to NASCAR officials from the medical crew out in turn number 3. Alan Bestwick, you obviously are much closer and have a better view.
Yeah, a couple minutes ago, Darrell came out of the car and laid down on the grass next to the car. They took his helmet off and put the neck brace on him. They've just put him on a backboard and onto the stretcher, and they were going to load him into the ambulance. I can't see much more than that, but Darrell is out of the car and does appear to be moving around a little bit.
Well, very few cars have elected to come onto pit road and just top off their fuel tanks. We told you a moment ago that at least about 4 or 5 coming in was trying to get my list together here. Dale Earnhardt pitted. So did Harry Gant, Ricky Rudd, Michael Waltrip, and Chad Little. And now here comes Richard Petty into the pits along with Jimmy Means. For the most part, that have been the only cars that have elected to come in during this caution and just top off their fuel tanks. As Dick Brooks reported to us just a moment ago, everybody would have been pretty much able to go the distance anyway, would they have not, Dick?
Yeah, I think everybody was planning on making it the rest of the day. They had serviced the car up. Of course, you know, almost all races have a caution in the last gas stop somewhere. I don't say every one of them, but almost all of them does. Guys get a little bit tired. The tires are getting a little bit more worn. There's mechanical problems. You know, they start having some kind of mechanical breakdowns or something. Scatter a little oil on the track. Or in this case, where they just get to racing too hard, those guys are you know, kind of wore out there. There's some of them pretty tired, and their reactions are not quite as quick. And they're racing the way those guys were when they came by here. They were about 17 abreast and about 3 deep, so they didn't make it back.
Again, Darrell Waltrip apparently is all right. The word we get from the NASCAR officials next door, they're giving us a high sign that Darrell apparently is all right, and that is good news because that's one of the scariest crashes I've seen at this racetrack in a long, long time. You talk about a race car that is absolutely, totally destroyed.